The mistake. The message came without warning. It did not come with peace. It did not come with questions. It came with a single line. This is the Xylar Empire. Earth is now under our control. Resistance will be destroyed. For a moment, the whole planet went silent. Then panic began. Across the world, people stopped what they were doing. Phones buzzed, screens lit up. News channels repeated the same message again and again. No one knew where it came from. But everyone knew it was real, because at the same time, something else appeared in the sky. Ships, hundreds of them, huge dark shapes floating above Earth's orbit. They blocked the stars. They moved slowly, like they had all the time in the universe. The Xylar Empire had arrived. Far away, inside one of the largest ships, a tall alien figure stood in a cold, bright room. His name was Commander Veyron. He looked down at Earth through a large screen, blue oceans, white clouds, green land, a beautiful planet. But to him, it was nothing special, primitive, he said calmly. Around him, other Xylar officers watched the data. Low-level technology. Internal conflicts detected. No unified defense system. One officer stepped forward. Commander, the species calls themselves humans. Veyron gave a small smile. They fight each other. They divide themselves. They are weak. He turned away from the screen. This will be easy. On Earth, leaders rushed into emergency meetings. In the United States, the president sat in a secure room deep underground. In Europe, governments activated defense systems. In Asia, military forces prepared for attack. But there was one problem. No one had faced something like this before. Missiles were launched toward the alien ships. They never reached their target. Bright flashes of light appeared, and every missile vanished in seconds. It was like they never existed. They're too advanced, one general whispered. Across the world, fear grew. People looked at the sky and saw the same thing. Not hope, not help, but something unstoppable. Then the second message came. This time, it was louder. It appeared on every screen, every phone, every device. Commander Veyron's face filled the world, cold eyes. No emotion. You have one chance, he said. Surrender now, or your planet will be erased. Hours passed. No official answer came. But behind the scenes, something was changing. In hidden locations around the world, secure lines opened. Old enemies began to talk. Nations that never trusted each other started sharing information, quickly, quietly. A code moved between them. Short, simple. Phase 1. Back in space, the Xylar Empire grew impatient. Commander Veyron watched the planet again. No response. An officer said, "They are confused," Veyron replied, "or afraid." He raised his hand. "Begin the first strike." The attack was fast. Beams of light shot down from the ships. Satellites exploded instantly. Communication systems failed. Power grids went dark in multiple cities. People screamed. Streets filled with chaos. Airplanes lost control. Military bases went silent. Within minutes, Earth looked broken, exactly as the Xylars expected. "They are collapsing," one officer said. Commander Veyron nodded. "Send ground forces. End this quickly." But then, something strange happened. Instead of more panic, something else appeared. Silence. Around the world, systems began to shut down. Not because they were destroyed, because they were turned off. Military channels disappeared. Public broadcasts stopped. Even the internet began to fade. It was like Earth was going dark on purpose. "Commander," an officer said, confused, "we are losing signal tracking across the planet." Veyron turned sharply. "What do you mean?" "We can no longer monitor their communications." "That is not possible." But it was happening. One by one, every signal disappeared. Down on Earth, deep underground, a group of commanders watched their screens. A man stood at the center. He did not look afraid. He looked focused. "Global silence complete," someone said. The man nodded. "Good." He looked around the room. No more mistakes, no more delays. A pause, then he gave the order. "Activate Phase 2. Back in space, the Xylar Empire felt something they had not felt before. Uncertainty. Commander Veyron stared at the now quiet planet. No signals, no panic, no movement, just silence. That is not fear, he said slowly. For the first time since arriving, he was not completely sure, and far below, on a planet they thought was weak, humanity was just getting started. The truth about humans, the silence of Earth, was not weakness. It was preparation. Commander Veyron stood in the command chamber, staring at the darkened planet below. Just hours ago, Earth had been full of signals, noise, panic, confusion. Now, it was completely quiet. No transmissions, no movement, no visible resistance. For most empires, this would mean victory. It would mean the enemy had accepted defeat. But something about this silence felt wrong. Veyron had led many invasions. Before, he had watched worlds fall in fear. This was not fear. This was something else. Scan the planet again, he ordered, his voice calm but sharp. Full spectrum. The officers obeyed instantly. Advanced systems scanned every layer of Earth, surface, atmosphere, underground. Seconds passed. Then, one officer spoke, his tone slightly uncertain. "Commander, we are detecting energy spikes." Veyron narrowed his eyes. "Where?" The officer hesitated. "Everywhere." Before Veyron could respond, the first shock came. A Xylar warship, positioned above the Pacific Ocean, suddenly went dark. No explosion, no warning. It simply disappeared from the fleet's network. For a brief moment, no one understood what had happened. Then seconds later, the ship exploded from within, breaking into pieces of burning metal that fell into Earth's atmosphere. The command room froze. "That is not possible," one officer said quietly. "No primitive world can do that." Then it happened again, another ship, then another. Not from direct attack, but from inside. Veyron stepped forward. "Report!" "We are losing control systems," an officer shouted. "Something is inside our network." On Earth, deep below the surface, hidden facilities came alive. For years, nations had competed, fought, and kept secrets from each other. But now, those secrets were no longer hidden. Massive underground bases, built in silence over decades, were fully active. Screens glowed, machines powered up. Teams from different countries worked side by side for the first time in history. A woman stood in front of a large display, watching alien ships fall from the sky. "Upload complete," she said. Behind her, another voice responded. "Alien systems compromised. Their defense network is adapting, but slowly." She gave a small smile. "Humans adapt faster." Back in space, chaos began to spread across the Xylar fleet. Ships lost connection. Weapon systems failed. Navigation controls stopped responding. Some ships even turned their own weapons against nearby allies. The perfect formation of the Xylar Empire started to break apart. Commander Veyron's calm expression began to fade. "How?" he demanded. "How are they doing this?" An officer answered, clearly shaken. "Commander, they are learning our systems in real time. They are rewriting our code." "That is impossible," Veyron said. "No species can adapt that quickly." But the evidence was right in front of him. Then came the second shock. From Earth's surface, something launched. At first, it looked like a simple missile, then 10, then hundreds. But these were not normal weapons. As they reached space, they changed direction instantly, moving faster than anything the Xylar Empire had recorded before. They split into smaller units, surrounding enemy ships from all sides. "New weapon type detected," an officer shouted. The missiles did not just explode. They hunted. They tracked. They learned. And within minutes, more Xylar ships were destroyed.
"But where will we go?"
"It doesn't matter, just move."
"Okay,
"Commander." Veyron clenched his hand tightly. "This is not the same species we observed," he said slowly. He remembered the reports. Humans were divided, emotional, weak. They fought each other over small things. They had no unity, no advanced systems compared to galactic empires. But now, they were working as one. On Earth, something even more powerful was happening.
They're getting closer. We have to leave now.
Leaders,
Did you hear
who
that?
once refused to speak to each other, were now sharing control. Militaries that once prepared to fight each other were now fighting together. Old enemies stood side by side, not because they trusted each other, but because they understood one truth. If Earth fell, nothing else mattered. And for the first time in history, humanity was not divided, it was united. Deep inside a command center, a human commander watched the battle unfold. He was not shouting, he was not panicking. He was calm, focused, and precise. Phase 2 complete, someone reported. The commander nodded. Begin Phase 3. A young officer looked at him, surprised. Sir, already? The commander's eyes stayed on the screen. They thought we were weak, he said quietly. Now they need to understand why that was their biggest mistake. Back in space, the Xylar Empire was no longer in control. Commander Veyron looked at the battlefield. Ships were burning, systems were failing. His perfect invasion had turned into confusion and loss in less than an hour. For the first time in many cycles, he felt something unfamiliar. Doubt. Then suddenly, a signal appeared. Not from the Xylar network, from Earth. A single transmission, clear and strong, forced its way onto every Xylar screen. The room went silent. Veyron stared at it. Play it, he ordered. The screen changed. A human appeared. No fear, no panic, just calm confidence. The man looked directly into the camera. Then he spoke. You made a mistake. The room went completely still. You saw our conflicts and thought we were weak. You saw our differences and thought we could not unite. A short pause. The man's eyes hardened. But you pushed us. Behind him, screens showed something terrifying. Thousands of human-controlled systems, weapons, fleets, all active, all coordinated, all ready. The man leaned slightly closer. And now, you're going to learn what humans really are. Commander. Veyron felt the shift. This was no longer an invasion. This was a war. And for the first time, the Xylar Empire was not winning. The wrong war. The moment the human transmission ended, the entire battlefield changed. What had started as a simple invasion had now become something far more dangerous for the Xylar Empire. Commander Veyron stood motionless in the command chamber. But inside, his thoughts were moving faster than ever before. He had seen many species fight. He had watched worlds burn and civilizations collapse in fear. But this was different. Humans were not reacting like prey. They were not begging for survival. They were adapting, learning, and pushing back with a level of coordination that no one had expected. For the first time in his long career, Veyron realized that this war was not going according to any known pattern. Across the battlefield, the human response grew stronger with every passing minute. What had started as defensive action quickly turned into something much more aggressive. Human-controlled fleets began to rise from Earth's surface. Ships that had been hidden for years now moving into space with precision and purpose. These were not random designs or rushed defenses. They were prepared, tested, and ready long before the Xylar Empire had arrived. It was as if humanity had always known that one day something like this would happen. And when that day came, they would not be caught unprepared again. The Xylar fleet, once perfectly organized and confident, was now breaking apart under constant pressure. Human forces did not fight in predictable ways. They changed their strategies in real time, learning from every move the enemy made. When Xylar ships adjusted their defenses, humans found new ways to break through them. When the aliens tried to regroup, human units split them apart again. It was not just strength that made humans dangerous. It was their ability to adapt faster than anything the Xylar Empire had ever faced. Inside the command chamber, reports kept coming in, each one worse than the last. Entire sections of the fleet were lost. Communication between ships was unstable. Control systems were still being hacked and disrupted. Commander Veyron listened carefully, but his expression had changed. The calm confidence he once carried was now replaced with something heavier, understanding. He was beginning to understand what kind of enemy he was facing. They are not stronger than us, one officer said, trying to hold on to hope. We still have superior technology. Veyron slowly turned his head toward him and spoke in a quiet, controlled voice. Strength is not only measured by technology. He paused for a moment, watching the human fleets move across the battlefield with perfect coordination. They are evolving in the middle of the war.
Okay, I'm with
That was the truth the Xylar Empire had failed to see. Humans did not need to start as the strongest species. They only needed time, and war gave them that time. As the battle continued, a new phase of human strategy began to reveal itself. Instead of only destroying enemy ships, humans started capturing them. Specialized teams moved quickly, boarding damaged Xylar vessels and taking control from the inside. Within a short time, those same alien ships were turned back against their own fleet. Xylar weapons, once feared across the galaxy, were now being used by humans with even greater efficiency. It was a level of adaptation that crossed into something almost impossible. The balance of power had shifted completely. Commander Veyron knew it, and for the first time, he made a decision he had never made before in any war.
Wait for me.
"Open a channel to Earth," he ordered.
Now.
The officers looked at him in shock, but they obeyed. Moments later, the connection was established. On the main screen, the same human commander appeared again. Calm, focused, unshaken. Veyron stepped forward and spoke with controlled respect. "This conflict has escalated beyond expectation. We are willing to negotiate terms of surrender." The room fell silent. Even the Xylar officers could not believe what they were hearing. Their empire did not surrender, not to anyone. On the other side, the human commander listened without interruption. His expression did not change. "You had your chance to leave," he said simply. Veyron's eyes narrowed slightly. "We are offering peace." The human commander shook his head slowly. "No, you are asking for mercy." Those words carried a weight that filled the entire space between them. Veyron understood the difference. Peace was something shared between equals. Mercy was given by the one who had already won. For a brief moment, silence returned. Then Veyron straightened his posture. He was still a commander of a powerful empire. Even now, he would not show weakness. "Then we will continue the fight," he said.
Hurry.
The human commander gave a small nod, as if he had expected that answer all along. "Then this ends today." The connection closed. What followed was not just a battle. It was the end of the war. Human fleets moved with complete control of the battlefield. Every remaining Xylar ship was surrounded, cut off from escape, and overwhelmed with coordinated strikes.
What is it?
There was no chaos in the human strategy, no wasted movement. Every action had a purpose, and every second pushed the war closer to its conclusion. The final target was clear, the Xylar command ship. Commander Veyron stood inside it, watching as human forces closed in from all sides. For the first time, he did not give new orders. He knew there were none left to give. He had entered this war believing Earth would fall in days. Now he was facing defeat in a matter of hours. He looked once more at the image of Earth on his screen, the same blue planet he had once called primitive. Now he saw it clearly, not as weak, but as something far more dangerous. A world that could survive anything and come back stronger. The final strike came without hesitation. Human weapons, combined with captured Xylar technology, hit the command ship with overwhelming force. The defenses failed almost instantly. Systems collapsed, light filled the chamber, and then it was over. The war ended not with a long struggle, but with a single, decisive moment. In the silence that followed, a message was sent from the remaining Xylar survivors back into deep space. It was not a threat. It was not a warning of revenge. It was a warning of something else. Do not engage Earth. Do not provoke humanity. They are not what they appear to be. Back on Earth, the sky slowly returned to normal. The ships were gone. The danger had passed. But something had changed forever. Humanity had faced an enemy greater than anything before, and had not only survived, but won. Not because they were the strongest from the beginning, but because they became the strongest when it mattered most. And far beyond Earth, across the galaxy, one truth began to spread. Many species fight to survive, but humans, they fight to win.